Here we're going to tie a fly called the Yellow Sally Stimulator. It's basically a stimulator to imitate the Yellow Sally stonefly. First thing we're going to do is get our thread started, and then we're going to tie in a piece of small or extra small copper wire down the length of the shank all the way to the bend. Now we're going to take a tiny bit of red ice dub, just enough to make a little ball at the back of the fly. I put on about an inch or so of dubbing to my thread. Just kind of coat the thread. You don't want a big clump of it. You need just enough to make a little ball at the back. Put a little too much on, just tear it out of there. Try to dub it as tightly as you can. There we go. Now the next thing is to take some yellow dubbing. You can use PMD dubbing or sulfur dubbing, as long as it's yellow or an orangey yellow. I prefer more of the yellow colors. At least that's the color of most of the Sallies out here in the West. We're going to dub a body with that. And it's going to take a few rounds of dubbing to coat the shank of the hook. And we just work our way forward. Just keep adding it little by little. It's better to add little amounts each time rather than add too much and have to rip it all off of there. It's a lot harder to take it off than it is to slowly put it on. Try to make the body fairly even if you can. Nice and smooth. No bumps or lumps. I'm going to go just a little bit more. We want to be about a little over 2/3 of the way up the hook. There we go. Now we're ready for our hackle that we're going to tie down the length of the body. I'm just going to use a little piece of cream colored hackle. You could also use tan or a very, very light brown or ginger even. I'm going to use some cream here. We're going to take this hackle and we're going to work it down the body of the fly. We're actually going to put one more wrap right on that red spot. We're going to capture that. We're going to cross wrap this wire through the body. Counter wrap, I should say. Once I get to the thorax, I'm going to capture that wire. Spiral it out of there. Trim out any excess. There we go. Next thing to do is to tie in the wing. For this, we're just going to use some bleached either elk hair or deer hair. Either one will do the trick. We're going to put it in our hair stacker. That will even up the tips. We're going to tie this wing in. We want it to be just a hair longer than the body of the hook. I'm going to do a loose wrap first and then tighten down. Then you can trim out all the excess. Clean up that thorax there. Now we're ready to tie in the hackle for the front half of the fly. Same thing, same color. Just going to use a little cream. Tie that in right against the wing. Take our thread right up against that wing again. We're going to dub the head of the fly. Same color dubbing, the yellow dubbing. Careful not to overdo it. And it should taper down to the eye. There we go. Now we're going to take that hackle, just wrap it, build up some hackle, and you sparsely hackle it. You don't put those wraps right next to each other, you just space them out a little bit. And clean everything up. And you are ready to whip finish. That's all there is to the Yellow Sally Stimulator. Very effective little fly out here in the west when the Yellow Sallies are popping.